Days after the India-China war of words over the Tibet border, now the Indian Navy is sending a loud warning to Beijing by deploying 4 frontline warships across the disputed South China Sea to the Philippines, which itself is locked in a bitter maritime dispute with China. Indian Ambassador Harsh Kumar Jain claimed, quote, "Given the high importance of the maritime sector for both our countries, we can expand our cooperation to include joint exercises in the maritime security and disaster response," unquote. Defense experts and commentators are seeing this deployment by India as flexing its muscle in China's backyard after the PLA supplied missiles and weaponry to Pakistan during the recent war with India. The goodwill visit to Manila this week by 4 Indian warships is also a counter to increased Chinese presence in the Indian Ocean region. This is Modi telling Xi that two can play this game. During the Manila stopover, the Indian Navy will participate in various bilateral cooperation activities with the Philippine Navy. This will include military exchanges, capacity building, and potentially joint maritime exercises focused on security and disaster response. It is aimed at promoting interoperability between the two navies. The engagement will also reinforce operational ties to help address regional maritime challenges. The Indian ambassador Harsh Kumar Jain elaborated that India and Philippines have a congruence of interest on various defense-related issues and maritime security. He further emphasized that the deployment reflects the two countries' shared commitment to maritime cooperation, freedom of navigation, and a rules-based order at sea. Now, this follows days after the Chinese embassy openly issued a warning to India against playing the Tibet card, after Indian Union ministers backed the Dalai Lama's right to choose his own successor as the Tibetan spiritual leader rejected any such claims made by the Chinese Communist Party. Then the Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister Pema Khandu raised the Tibet occupation debate after claiming that India historically shared its border with Tibet and not China. That only happened after 1950s. Now all eyes turn to the South China Sea, where the Philippines rejects Chinese imaginary 9-dash line, which infringes on its exclusive economic zone, not only of Philippines but of most ASEAN nations. The Indian Navy ship's visit to Manila will coincide with its growing maritime conflict between China and the Philippines, which threatens to spiral out of control. For those of our viewers who have not followed the recent confrontations between China and Philippines in this region, let's quickly get you the details, and after that, we'll tell you which other Indian weapon system Manila seems set to buy next from India. Firstly, just last year, Philippines deployed the Indian Brahmos missiles there to guard against Chinese misadventures, which shows the seriousness of the situation. Tensions are running high between Beijing and Manila as a standoff occurred between Chinese and Philippine Coast Guard vessels off the Philippine province of Palawan in June this year. As per ship tracking data, 3 Chinese Coast Guard ships challenged a group of Philippine vessels about 60 miles off the westernmost Philippine province of Palawan. Now, this lies within the Philippines' 200 nautical miles or 230-mile exclusive economic zone, a resource-rich region illegally claimed by China. The recent flare-ups between both the regions have been mainly over 2 disputed areas, the Scarborough Shoal and the Spratly Islands. These areas have been on the radar of Chinese Coast Guard, its maritime militia, and illegal fishing fleets. Chinese military posturing here continues despite this region falling within Philippine EEZ. Now, the CCP claims the region on the basis of its imaginary 9-dash line, which has already been deemed illegal by the International Court in The Hague. But the CCP just ignores that ruling. China continues to assert its control on the Scarborough Shoal, a prime fishing and resource-rich patch used by several countries, as well as the Second Thomas Shoal. In June 2024, Chinese troops armed with axes and knives bullied Philippine sailors near the Second Thomas Shoal by damaging the Philippine boats, injuring a few crew members. And that wasn't the first time the Chinese Coast Guard vessel dared to enter the island nation's exclusive economic zone, and it wasn't the last either. In April this year, China's largest Coast Guard vessel, the 99-meter-long beast known as the Monster, almost collided with a smaller vessel from the Philippines, further raising tensions off the coast of Zambales this time. The PCG accused the Chinese ship of reckless and dangerous maneuvers, displaying a blatant disregard for safety. Now, Manila added that the Chinese Coast Guard violated the Philippine Maritime Zones Act and the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. China's Coast Guard vessels have been routinely operating near Zambales since earlier this year. But the PLAN just rejected these claims. In fact, China's state-run Global Times reported that the Coast Guard plans to expand its patrols, describing them as fully justified. Now, tensions with a common regional bully have drawn India and the Philippines closer. Manila is seeking more Indian defense technology to be prepared for any looming conflict. According to recent reports, Philippines may strike a deal with New Delhi as soon as this year itself to acquire the Indian-built Akash air defense system. The agreement, possibly worth $200 million if finalized, will mark Manila's second major import from Bharat after the successful deployment of the ship-killer Brahmos supersonic missiles by the island nation. Meanwhile, speaking to PTI Videos on the 18th of March, General Bronner expressed satisfaction with the Philippines' existing stock of Indian military's crown jewel, the Brahmos missile systems, and emphasized their strategic value. He remarked, quote, "We are looking at the possibility of procuring more missile systems and other platforms from India. We already have the Brahmos system. We are happy with them. We are still waiting for the delivery of more components, but so far they are creating a very good deterrent effect in the South China Sea." Unquote. The Indian Air Force delivered the first battery of the Brahmos supersonic cruise missiles and launchers to the Philippines after a $375 million deal in April 2024. The missile is deployed by the Filipino Navy just 250 kilometers away from the disputed Scarborough Shoal, a resource-rich but disputed region that the Chinese encircle almost every day. The military's cooperation indicates a geopolitical alignment amidst growing regional tensions. There's real concern that the Chinese confrontations with the Philippines could spark a larger, major conflict. From 190 vessels in 2021, the Philippines is now seeing a daily average of 286 Chinese ships around its maritime zone. Any of these could prove to be the spark which threatens the entire region. With the visit of 4 Indian warships to the Philippines, the Modi government is also projecting itself as a reliable partner and a counterweight to an expansionist China. But what do you believe? Should India boost its defense alliances in the South China Sea as China continues to arm Pakistan? Leave a comment with your opinion, hit the like button and subscribe to Inconnect News.